Good morning. Good morning. How are you? It feels a very quiet day today. I don't know why. Feels a very quiet day. Got a bit of hair sticking up as well. Look at that. Sort that out. It must be 8 o'clock, and it is, because this young fella walks past the window every day at 8 o'clock, and I thought I could set my clock by him. I bet, because I bet he walks past the same time every day. So a couple of days back, I clocked what time he walked past, 8 o'clock, and there we were, 8:01. He walked past again, off to school in his uniform. Very good. So I now will set my clock by this fella. If I see him walk past 8 o'clock, so I'm relying on him. I'm relying on him to do that and to keep that going. Or some days I'll be late for things or early for things, obviously. So I won't completely rely on him. But it's a good barometer. The meter of life, the measure of life, the ticking by of things, the routine. It's all very good. He clearly kind of gets up and does his stuff, gets ready, whatever. Must head out the house at the same time, get to school at the same time. And there he is, a few days apart, exactly the same minute of the day walking past. And I just think that's brilliant, because I think routine is everything, as you know. The thing that inspired the title for today, originally, this is interesting. I'll get more coffee. Originally, when I was doing the little graphic for the title thing, I had "Don't Look Back," and I thought, well, that's not right, is it? Because I talk about reflection. Well, as a professional, and just in general, I talk about reflection all the time, and the importance of looking back and thinking about and analysing kind of what happened, to learn from it or to celebrate it. Oh, speaking of looking back, apologies for yesterday when the camera just went off and it all stopped. But I think I was about finished anyway. I was talking about music, wasn't I? Anyway, but I just wanted to, I'm reflecting on that. And that's the point with reflection, isn't it? I had no control over that. So I could have sat there and I could have thought, oh, that's awful. I could have deleted the live and I could have done it again. And I thought, well, that's what's happened. I had no control over it. So that's just what's happened. And there it is. So it's going up. It'll terminate. I'll just put a little message to say, sorry about the abrupt ending. That's what I did. Anyway, so it was called I originally was thinking, I'm going to call it Don't Look Back. And then I thought, well, no, I talk about reflection all the time and the importance of looking back. The point is, because it came from, I was digging into my notes to have a think about what to talk about. And I came across this little annotation that said, don't look back. You're not going that way. And I thought that's really important, Don't look back, because you're not going that way. That's not where you're going. There's no point in looking back. We have to be mindful and in the moment, but kind of moving forward, don't we? On a daily, moment by moment basis, we've got to be moving forward. I'm a big fan of living in the moment. What's this moment mean to me? What's this moment for? But obviously, in order to do that, I think to make the best of each moment, we have to have looked ahead to some extent. But here's the important thing. So it's not don't look back. It's how you look back, isn't it? So reflection is really important. Daily reflection is really important, because if you let things kind of stew, then they become problematic in your head, don't they? So you start ruminating on the past rather than having a look at it and thinking about it and resolving it and then moving on from it. We ruminate on it. We go, oh, that time when I did that thing, we do what we do that a lot, don't we? That time that thing didn't go well. Well, that way is folly, because you're going to keep eating yourself up with those thoughts, aren't you? So don't look back. You're not going that way. Says to me, have a look back at it early doors. So like that evening, I would suggest, and I suggest at the end of the working day, kind of having a think back on what's happened and thinking about what went well, what didn't go well first, what didn't go well, and thinking about that from a perspective of control. Could I have controlled it any better? If not, fair enough, move on. You couldn't have controlled it any better. You did what you could do if you're satisfied that you did that. Or I could have controlled it better. So there's your learning. So there's that, and then there's the to-do list and kind of do that kind of thing. So we look back, but then we don't keep looking back, because we're not going that way. We're going forward. And it's interesting, because when we keep looking back, we kind of we engage in negative self-talk, don't we? And there was a piece of research, again, I pull all this from my notes, my Obsidian vault, it's immense. There's a research project where they got people to take a personality test, and they just assigned random results to people. They didn't mark the personality test. They just assigned random results to the people, not their real result. And it was a test to assess whether they were socially well adjusted or whether they weren't and they were going to be lonely. That was what they were experimenting with. So they were going to tell them this thing about themselves as a consequence of this test, but it was random. So it wasn't really their results. And those who were told negative outcomes, you're not well adjusted and you're going to be lonely, when they did following cognitive tests, maths and the like, probably, I'd imagine, they were negatively affected based on their baseline academic ability. And then in an impulse control test, I need to find where these tests go on. In an impulse control test, they ate more chocolate chip cookies than people who'd been told that they were well socially adjusted. So what we tell ourselves or what we're told has massive impact on how we then approach things in the world from a cognitive ability or from an impulse kind of ability. So troughing on the chocolate chip cookies because you'd been told something. How mad's that? Well, I think the important thing, what I'm saying, live in the moment, but be future minded, but not future obsessed, is we need to create a roadmap, don't we? I'm a big fan of the 10-year plan. I'm a big fan of the 5-year plan, 3-year plan, whatever. I'm a big fan of setting my year out, establishing my harbors. I haven't talked about that for a while. Establishing my harbors. One of the things most working age adults have got control over, complete control, usually to a large extent, is when they take their holidays. And your holidays are your harbors, aren't they? You want to space them out during the year, or space them out as suits you. I take a lot of time off in the summer, not so much in the winter. That suits me. You space them out because you need to know where your harbors are. You need to know where you're aiming for. You don't set sail and just randomly kind of go places. You kind of think, where am I heading for? Because when you head off there, you have to know you've got enough provisions and enough fuel and all those kind of things. You have to know you've got all of those things available to you. So before you head off on your journey, you've got to know where you're going. Because where you're going dictates what you will do, but also how much energy you will need to get to that point. So we've got harbors established across the year with our holidays, but then we need harbors across the day, don't we? We need harbors across the day to think, right, I'm going to get to that point, I'll have a rest. When I get to that point, I'll have a rest. Where are my harbors during the day? Have I got enough energy to get to that? Have I got enough supplies? Have I got enough resources to get to that point? So you have to create a roadmap, first of all, so you know where you're going. And then manage your energy first, as I've talked about. Your body budget, this is from a book called Scarcity. Your body budget relies on predicting your needs in advance. You need to be ready to meet your needs before they arise rather than reacting to them. Because, if you've got loads to do, if you've got a particularly busy day the next day and you decide to go to bed late, then you're not going to have enough energy the following day. So you've not predicted what you're doing the next day. And now, rather than being ready for the next day, you're reacting to the tiredness. You're reacting to the emotions that you're feeling because you're tired. You're reacting to that rather than being ready for it and prepared for it. So if you've got a busy day the next day, then what you do the night before. If you've got a busy week, then what you do the week before. If you've got a busy few months, then how you prepare for those busy few months in terms of your energy levels is really important. So your body budget relies on predicting your needs in advance. So we got the roadmap. We know how much energy we then need to do what we need to do. And when you've got some energy, you might find, if you've got this right, you've got some energy left over, which means you can push yourself, but not too hard, to do the thing. whatever the thing is that you're leaning into. Now, we have routine stuff that we need to do. We have stuff that just needs to be done on a daily basis at home, at work, wherever. But also often we're trying to drive things forward, aren't we? We're trying to kind of develop ourselves in some way, or at least we should be. We should be trying to develop ourselves all the time. We should never become complacent with, well, this is how it is, because I don't think we thrive on that. I think we thrive on thinking, what am I doing next? What am I going to develop next? What's the thing that I'm going to do next? How am I going to improve myself? I don't know, cognitively, physically, whatever, in terms of how I relax. How am I going to prove myself? Now, you can only lean into one thing at once because the bits we have to do all the time demands a whole bunch of energy. So you can't drive everything forward all the time. So you've got to pick one thing to drive forward. And then whatever surplus energy you've been able to generate, you can use that to push that thing forward. I suppose the way I would do it is, and this is what I do, and this is what I've been doing recently with kind of pushing hard with this kind of stuff rather than my day job with the university, and rather than the freelance stuff I do. I've been trying to push the internet related stuff, the videos and the Patreon account and all that kind of thing. I've been and delving into guided meditation online and pushing all those things forward. I've been pushing those things forward. And when I've been doing that, isn't during the day because I can't, because I've got work. I've been doing it kind of in that 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock period on a night. Finish work about 5ish, walk the dog, figure out what's happening in the evening. And then if I've got the energy left over, like yesterday, I didn't do anything. I had no energy left at the end of yesterday. Monday had some energy, so I did an hour, 6 till 7. You know what I mean? So if you're dealing with your energy, if you're manifesting your energy effectively, you might have a little bit left over to push your thing forward. Really important, because what's really important for us is to learn new things. Learning new things is so important, and the two key elements of learning new things are to design your environment for success. So I've done that. Simplest first step was to put in my calendar 6 till 7 that I was going to do something, and then figure out what I was going to do. And obviously last night I just went into my calendar and deleted it. I've not got the energy to do that, so there are things that I would like to do but might not get to do. So keep them in my calendar, but equally enjoy the process. That's really important. Enjoy the process. The process is everything. The outcome compared to the process is negligible. Enjoy the process, because the outcome is going to be short-lived. That's the problem with outcomes. You achieve it and you think that was great, but then the nature of human nature is we then move on to the next thing. So you've got to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, or figure out how to enjoy the process, you are not going to keep moving the thing forward, because if it gets a bit hard and you're not enjoying that process, you probably stop. And one thing, just kind of going back to something that I meant to say earlier, I suppose, but it actually fits here better, is fear is not fact. When we start on something and think I'm going to push myself to do that new thing, fear is not fact. I've set this Patreon account up, and I've had a couple of people join, and that's absolutely lovely. That's fabulous. The fear is that nobody would have joined. That's the fear. But fear is not fact. That's just me. That's just my ego getting in the way. If I think it's something I want to do, and it is something I want to do, I want to do the guided meditations. I want to make them available somehow, through some sort of service, if you like. Then the fear of nobody showing up to these things is not a fact one way or another. Do you know what I mean? It's just my ego getting in the way of me doing something. And if I do 20 guided meditations and somebody turns up to 3 of them, well, that's 3 things that have been successful in my head. So we create these ideas. Here's the thing. What will it look like if nobody turns up? Well, it won't look like anything. What it'll look like is me sat here with nobody in the Zoom call with me. That's what it'll look like. Nobody will know. Well, they will, because I'm telling you now. But nobody will know, So this feeling of, and I don't feel like this. This is hypothetical. This feeling of humiliation because it didn't succeed, It's not a fact. That's just to do with my ego. That's just to do with me wanting to look successful the way the world measures success, which is how many people turned up, how much did you make, you know, uh, you know, how many likes did you get, how many hits did you get, those kind of things. Well, I'm not particularly. It's great when people watch. Don't get me wrong, and I don't do this. I do this for myself, but I don't just do it for myself. It's nice if people watch this stuff. But if it becomes about that number, then it's become about my ego, hasn't it? And I'm not trying to take. I'm just trying to make a point here, not kind of take some moral high ground. I'm just trying to make a point that once it becomes about your ego, once it becomes about measuring your success the way by external metrics and not by your internal satisfaction, you can easily become kind of disillusioned with things, So I've done three. Have I done three guided meditations? I think so far. I've got two lined up for this week, and I'll tell you, people turned up to two of them, and nobody turned up to one of them. That was fine. So what I did with that, what's that thing when the world gives you lemons, make lemonade. Is that right? What I did with that was I thought, right, nobody's turned up. So what I did was I recorded one. I thought, right, well, I'll still do one and I'll record it. And that's up on the Patreon thing now, under the level 1 membership. So you can grab that, you can grab that. So it wasn't wasted. But if that had been about my ego, then I would have just sat there kind of, I failed. Well, failure, I haven't failed. Nelson Mandela reportedly said, and I think he said, I either win, I never lose. I think it was win and lose. I either win or I learn. I don't lose, and I think that's an important kind of message, isn't it? So don't look back. You're not going that way. Create a roadmap and then work on yourself every day. Push forward on the thing that you're pushing forward on while you keep everything else kind of going, but only push forward if you've got the energy. The secret is to have controlled your energy first. Make sure you've got enough energy at least for all the things you've got to do. You've got to do that first. You've got to predict your energy needs in advance by planning methodically what there is to do. And then if you've got a bit left over at the end of the day, great. Move a project on, and whatever that project is, project you, isn't it? That's what it is. Project you. Go to the gym, go for a walk, do that kind of stuff. Learn a new skill, cook a new meal, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be kind of like, it doesn't have to be earth shattering. But what are you doing today to move yourself forward? What are you doing today to work on yourself? So there you go. Don't look back. You're not going that way. Forward, onward. See you Friday, hopefully. Take care.